Thank you, President Afo and Kosonen-san. As a Japanese, I had to start from apology. Now, I think this is a distinguished honor, but I think because of some other commitment, I had to leave and taking a flight right after these three plenaries, so that I had to be excused. I very much miss this opportunity on the panel. Honorable guests and guests of Sitra, leaders in every section of the Finland and elsewhere. It is a distinct honor and privilege to be given this opportunity to speak to you. The topic is innovation, with focus on Japan, China, and India, three distinct countries in Asia, vast Asia. Do you know a word which I learned from President Aho? Incunabula. It means printed books between the Gutenberg's first printed Bible that came around the year 1455 and to year 1501. That's the beginning of Da Vinci, Last Supper. There are some 30,000 books during this some 50 years, but with Gutenberg, the world has changed dramatically and irreversibly. The magnitude of dissemination of information by Gutenberg's printing technology led to the religious revolution, and indeed dissemination of information has always been a revolutionary event in the history of mankind because it allows the greater portion of the public to question the authority and the establishment. Now, at the beginning of the 21st century, we are again in the world of information revolution that is beyond any magnitude and speed we have ever seen in our history. And that is indeed a major factor that has changed the technological and economic paradigm, and every reason we are now talking about innovation everywhere. I would like to discuss with you what happened. This is the first slide. Let's see. Innovation. It has been recognized widely in the recent years that innovation power almost equals national competitiveness. U.S. initiative and policies like Innovate America, published in 2004, and EU, again, EU initiative and policies like Lisbon Strategy in year 2000, and followed by AFO report in 2006, January, and Japan initiative and policies like Innovation 25. I'd like to briefly touch upon it. And the innovation is everywhere. Asia, Latin America, and everywhere. Why is it? Even it seems that innovation has become a mantra, as I cited in my interview, which appeared in Science in April 13 issue, the news of the week. Innovation is a change, thus does not go along with stability. You have to remember that. Innovation is a change. It does not go along with stability. Keyword in innovation in these days are a bit different from old paradigm. Personalization, collaboration, and that is innovation. But why is it? Why innovation is now? Forces at work. In Japan, declining population, aging society that seems to be everywhere, and rapid aging. That become a challenge for established societal structure, like pension plans, employment, and other factors. How about Asia? Rapidly growing, but with pressing issues, energy needs, environment, clean technology, poverty, world at large, further development of a knowledge-based network society, and accelerating progress of globalization, climate change, and the environment degradation, it's everywhere, and explosive population growth, which was only 1.6 billion 100 years ago. Now we embrace 6.6 billion, it continued to grow to reach 9 billion by year 2050. So the climate change and the environment issue become one of the major elements of forces at work. How about issues increasingly threaten the sustainability of mankind, widening gap between the rich and poor, and thus the great public awareness throughout the world brought through information dissemination, expect the result of public and private investment or on research and development to bring the solutions to these global problems, not only economic growth, but they want us to solve the global issues. We are responsible. So new and unexpected era, that's innovation. Whatever you put on research and development, that's fine. But give us a result. That is a public cries. What are the constraints? We never had such a constraint over the last many years of our civilization. Climate change and climate crisis. You have seen a hot summer and terrible weather. Why is that? Environment deterioration, pollution, water and foods and other natural resources, and perception by the general public of wide north-south disparity. You know that because of information society, and TV shows that. Therefore, the sense of inequity, frustration, violence and identity, human security, these are the issues. 2 weeks from now, we're going to commemorate, not necessarily commemorate, we reminded the September 11th, 6 years ago. Just 6 years. What a fragile world we live. That's what they sense. So we are regarded as the responsible leaders of each society. Growing population over the last 15 years, 50% increase. Over this 50%, Islamic population from 17% to 20%, which means if you calculate this, is doubled. Is our society sustainable? All right. So the opportunity for challenges for any establishment, that is the essence of innovation. When you become affluent, rich, successful company, affluent society or nation, always you become conservative. That's a human nature. That's what Schumpeter points out. You have to innovate. Innovate means from inside to make to new. So there must be always somebody, despite this affluence or successful corporate model, you have to nurture somebody who tries to challenge it and destroy it. Otherwise, sustainable growth could not be achieved. So issues at hand is on the left, increasing threatening sustainability of mankind, widening gap between rich and poor divide. Opportunity for Japan, if you look at Japanese success over the last perhaps 40 years, not after this bubble economy of 1989, values placed on making the best of scarce resources and technology available to resolve global issues, such as energy, water, flu epidemics network, and at least environment technology seems to be best in Japan because of a lot of pollution, industrial pollution we experienced in 1960s, and innovation in service, in addition to manufacturing and embracing all sections, one of the opportunities for Japan to promote. And challenges of Japan is, again, traditional hierarchical and power structure, inward-looking, not open, outdated rules and regulations which fit to the old paradigm but not anymore. And there are so many stakeholders, big shots, which have to break it. That is a big challenge. And too much domestic focus and not enough global perspective. That is the Japanese psychology. Fairly insular. What is unique about Innovation 25? This is a policy I chaired, a long-term plan extending to the year 2025 and not a one-shot deal, which is very unusual for Japanese government to make such a policy recommendation. a broad-based approach applicable to Japan's entire social system, beyond science and technology policy, to governmental and industry business structure. That is, social reform is the essence of this Innovation 25, and clearly identified international leadership role for Japan in certain areas, an initiative to be rebrand Japan in an interdependent world, sharing a common destiny, that is sustainability. Key concept which have been embraced in this policy is, if you can see that on my website, at least interim exec summary is sort of capturing the principal concept and focus on this policy, is nurture entrepreneurship and encourage entrepreneurial spirits. Nails that stick up need to be encouraged and nurtured, which is against traditional Japanese education and culture. Conformity was the essence of education in Japan, which in my view has been fading. An ecosystem with free interaction of ideas, funds and people across national borders and global partnership. Finland has certain strengths. I visited University of Arts and Design, wonderful. And there's a strength of, unique strengths of Finland, and global perspective. And what kind of global leadership Japan as a nation want to take? That is a good question. And linear innovation to demand-driven mechanism for innovation. I'm going to go over this again. And commitment to new mindset and the attitude of a nation and the public. And the policy recommendation includes, therefore, specifically use global energy and environment issues as a driver for economic growth and the international contribution. Because since 1973 of energy crisis, Japan's manufacturing section become very effective because they work so hard so that CO2 emission in entire manufacturing field, including automobile to steel to every manufacturing, CO2 emission stays completely unchanged up to now, 40 years. Because they become so efficient, from secondary energy to CO2 emission is twice as effective as in US. And that kind of technology has to be transferred and developed where needs are, and everybody needs that clean energy technology. And green tech, and water and foods management, and water purification, and fostering leadership in this global issue area, with exchange with young students and graduate training, and you are welcome. Focus on the investment for the next generation, expand the opportunity for young people to have more international interaction. Let's say 4 weeks of summer student exchange program, a homestay starting from junior high, even high school, 1 year exchange, why not? And the university have to reform to become more open, particularly leading universities have to open undergraduate classes to international students, promote internationalization of students and faculty at undergraduate and of course graduate school, but other reform allowing the transition. But university has been so slow in responding to that. I have been shouting at them, but they are very slow to respond. Increase investment in science and technology to deliver real value, encourage frontier cutting-edge research, and share this with global leaders, and implement review and regulation, social system norms and rules, and review and reform regulation and the rules that are conducive to service innovation, which had been a very weak sector in Japan. Changing patterns and process of innovation, and why? Now, innovation, linear innovation was social infrastructure, manufacturing, and this is a very important element, but economic incremental growth is a bit less. So this linear innovation are more incremental innovation, but now become more open, destructive innovation. I tell you why, and demand-driven. Global competition and speed is the essence of the game. So the policy roadmap on Innovation 25, innovation in social system, innovation in human resource, and innovation in policy implementation, all critical so that all the policy innovation has to be orchestrated in a comprehensive, integrated and systemic manner so that Japan will remain or strive to become the world's most innovative countries. Can we do that? Monitoring of implementation is indispensable, and with a top-down, across-the-board organization. Whether political leadership, responsible business leadership can achieve it, that is a question. Now, as to the innovation, everybody knows innovation. This was like Schumpeter. That's a business model, how you operate business. But it's amazing if you see this is a textbook of innovation written by Nathan. Richard Nelson at the Columbia University on this innovation. When I saw this, I thought it's very interesting and telling us something. Innovation in scholarly article in social sciences with innovation in the title, such a scholarly activity. If you see that from 1955 to 2004, it stays the same until 1995. It means something. Why is it? Why innovation become mantra? Everybody talking about innovation. There must be a reason for that. Let's review, particularly since Industrial Revolution, what's happened in our life. Because Industrial Revolution was the key to change the value set and behavior and societal change and economic growth pattern. Industrial Revolution happened in 1769 by James Watt, which changed the economic paradigm because the boat, transport, and shipping, and also textile, and this is according to the Friedman and Perez at the University of Sussex. Each paradigm, according to them, lasts about 50 plus minus 10 years, starting from some big bang of technological revolution, which attracts after certain years of economic investment, and then become maturity, but through this economic investment, financial capital, there's always a bubble burst. Because that's human nature, because that may be growing, so there's a lot of investment capital. Some may catch a big money, but some may fail. Second is the age of steam and railway, which started in UK again in 1829, which lasted until 1873. That means lasted means this paradigm become a matured capital, and which become an infrastructure of society, which then taken over by steel. That means Carnegie and others from US and Germany now. It's from shifting to US, then back to Euro, which is the steel is taking over iron, which was the mainstream of steam engines and railway. And that ended in about 1918. Then we are at the end of fourth paradigm, age of oil and automobile and mass production, which started with T. Ford, 1908, to Europe, and then to Asia. 1974, why is it 1974? The reason is that was time which drove all this economy. Cheap oil become expensive. That become a limiting, because this is the oil which was free almost, like about $2 a barrel, but which is quite limiting, and environment. You remember Mosquito in the state of California, 1971. Car exhaustion has to be reduced by 90% within 10 years. Detroit said it's impossible, but in 3 years' time, Honda cleared it. So you have to set the goals. That's the role of government. Industry has to strive and compete. That is innovation. But now we are in the fifth age of information and telecommunication, which started in 1975. This is the foundation of Intel. Let's go over this paradigm. In the fourth paradigm of age of oil and automobiles and mass production, of course there's a lot of different progress in technology and sciences, so that communication ways are different. Telegram to telephone, which become much faster, and railway to highways, which change the way you communicate and live and work. So that this paradigm was mass production and mass market and consumerism. Convenient. All right? So that's what we lived on. Economy of scales, product and market volume, horizontal integration, you capture the big market. Coca-Cola is one example. Even McDonald's is another one. Standardization of products, standardization, energy intensity primarily of oil because this is cheap, this was cheap, and synthetic material, paints, plastics, that changed a lot of economy and create a new industry. And functional specialization and hierarchical pyramids of corporate structure and certain global companies, and centralization, metropolitan center to suburbanization, you commute. That become a work life, and that's because of this industrial power, each nation, company, that's become a national power of each nation. International agreements, confrontation. These are the paradigm which faced up to 10 years ago. But we are not talking about the international anymore. Why is that? We are talking about global. Just remember 10 years ago, we are talking about the international. Why is that? Because the economic paradigm was just right there. That was a major force of driving engine, which matured around 1974. But still we need that because this is an infrastructure for every society. Developing country needs that kind of infrastructure. That is still a business opportunity. But the manufacturing, the capacity could be developed easily in developing parts of the world. So linear innovation, supply side dominate around that time, consumerism. And national, bilateral, international, but not global. And human resource development was very important because you know the economic paradigm and industrial growth at that time. Innovators and the innovation at that time in Japan, that was typical because that fit very well to the Japanese mindset. That's the social structure built in Japan. Toyota Kiichiro, around 1930s, that was a very successful textile company, but he went to the United States and he thought, I'm going to make automobile. Everybody says, don't do it. High risk. But he said, I'm going to do it. He failed many times, but he persisted and now become a number one company. And he created just in time, all the system reviewed, and that was a great leader, innovator, out of the box. Honda Soichiro. He was a great man. He wanted to win this automobile race to show they can do it. And he, even after he became a CEO and president of successful Honda Motors, he also worked with engineers. In the auto race, he goes there and wear this white shirt, dirty one with the engineers, and sit with the engineer, always with the engineer. That's what he has seen. His passion, tenaciousness. He wants to pursue these high goals all the time, regardless of his position or his post. How about Ibuka and Morita? Great combination which made Sony a global brand. Morita-san was a great salesman, always looked at the global market at that time. Even though Japan has a very sizable market, he could care less about domestic market. He's completely out of box. He wants to become a number one in the world. That kind of spirit is missing in very mature society. So innovative people are, what kind of people are they? They are ones with phronesis, Aristotle, who has an aspiration for true value, right or just and common goods, and thus driven with passion, courage, and tenacity. That's often regarded as the disruptors and distractions. But linear innovation, they succeed. But now, we are in the maturing phase of fifth paradigm of aging of information and telecommunication, which started from US, now spread out to Euro and Asia. Constraint, as we know, is a sustainability. It started 71, and sustainability is just like that. I forgot about it, but I think I showed you sustainability. That means environment and other things. Now, in this information technology, Intel was there, laptop was there, tabletop was there, you're using computer, but never be connected. It became connected in 1992 when Berners-Lee invented World Wide Web. Following this World Wide Web, all of a sudden, Netscape, Yahoo, Amazon, all founded in 1994. Because they saw the opportunity. They have a creative mind, digital mind. So Windows 95 came because Bill Gates never imagined internet would be any use because his model was capturing MS-DOS, like fundamental software. That's what his business model. But he just pursued Netscape, which was very much surprised him. Windows 95, but now Linux, one of the Scandinavian, created a completely new sort of open source. And Google was founded in 1997. Google.com was registered in 1997. They have a first investment in 1998. Now they are already more than $100 billion company. Fast, crazy, disruptive. Mobile phone in Japan and elsewhere, BlackBerry, Nokia is number one, capturing almost 40% of global market. Motorola 14%. Samsung, LG is 13%. And Sony Ericsson is 11%. You see that? Everybody uses that, but not 10 years ago. 65% of components are made in Japan. So you see the Japanese strength and weakness. Emails, iPod to iPhone, to Nintendo's Wii is a winner, and demand-driven innovation. So this time of innovation, you require information intensity, decentralized, integrated, and intangible value becomes so important for corporate value. It's not the shareholders' value, but stakeholders' value. Heterogeneity, diversity, adaptability become an essence. Segmentation of market, so many niches all over the world, and branding becomes so important. Economy of scope, specialization, targeted audience, and globalization, interaction with global and local, and instant decision speed is the essence of the game. Now, this is the data by Jorgensen, IT producing company. Up to 2000, where the IT bubble came in New York Stock Exchange, yellow, IT producing company was one of the significant components of driving engine for economic growth in the United States. But after 2000, not anymore. Because green, which is a different business model or corporate utilizing IT technology, become a new growing power. So it's not a producer, but user and new business model. All right, so innovation in global world, I'm going to finish in 3 slides. Invest on human capital, not only human resource, because you don't know what kind of person could create a new business model. It's a matter of creativity. Nurture entrepreneurship. Take risks. Encourage to take risks. And heterogeneity and diversity, adaptability as the essence of the game. And focus on the strengths and your core competence. Forget about weakness. Recognize the weakness and collaborate with the best partners. Speed the essence of the game. And think locally, because 10 years ago we are talking about think globally and act locally. But not anymore. Because think locally, local value could be delivered to the targeted audience throughout the world, which may be consisting of various niches. So think locally and act globally. Even with emails, you never work with somebody who never met, because chemistry is important, philosophy is important, so you want to know who you are, then you collaborate. So international to global, that is a different game now. All right, so what else? Now, 6th paradigm is beginning to happen, which is biotechnology and perhaps nanotechnology, but for what? This is most likely to solve various global issues, clean energy, environment. In fact, in Silicon Valley, last year, there's more than $3 billion investment on clean energy technology because they think this creative mindset may do something. So it's shifting from usual biotech to clean energy, like quantum dot and other really new research frontiers. They're investing huge amount. All right, so key concept and keywords are national, international to global, human resource to human capital, think globally, act locally, to think locally and act globally. It's become possible. And social entrepreneurship and Wikinomics, because social entrepreneurship is really catching the human empathy to the weak and poor and diseased. And there are many, many social entrepreneurial success story like Grameen Bank and Mr. Yunus, who got the Nobel Prize last year. That shows you the human empathy. So Economist Intelligence Unit published earlier this year very timely report of personalization, collaboration, and innovation. That's exactly the theme of what we are talking about in New Paradigm. And in innovation, still they regard Japan was number one. So I discussed this writer who reported this innovation. There are many challenges, but still Japan has a unique strength, certainly has a weakness, and each country has certain strengths and uniqueness. That is the time for collaboration. EU and Finland, I think that we have a great opportunity if we pick a right partnership and right strategy, that for the common, better sort of global common good, we have to work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kurokawa-san, for your insightful and, I would say, passionate presentation. And as we all know, passion is really the fuel of innovation. Without that, there is nothing. And you really demonstrated. It's hard to believe and imagine of a better spokesman for Japanese innovation system than you, Kurokawa-san. Let's now turn. We're a couple of minutes behind the schedule, but there's still kind of we have to have time for a couple of questions after such a great presentation. So I'm sure there is kind of rush for kind of plenty of hands coming up. I'm not yet seeing. I have a lot of questions in my mind, but I'm waiting for yours first. And when you present the questions, please remember also to be brief. We don't have time for lectures. Did I scare you? Why don't I then start, or do I see a question? Matti.
Yeah, well, Matti Lehti.
Yeah, here we are.
Matti Lehti, Helsinki School of Economics. When everybody is talking about innovation, and it's the mantra of any country and any nation, any company, what really makes the difference then?
Right, I think because it's how you interpret why innovation. I showed you Nelson's data. Apparently, I think that's my view. General public really want to see something happen for the betterment of our society. And I'm sure like clean energy and green technology is, everybody talks about it, but we are spending so much money on research and development, and greater public really wants us to solve these solutions. And if you don't, just simply investing in science and technology, I think public may not see this is enough. I think because of this innovation become all of a sudden key words for any policies. That means you have to deliver.
Other questions? Yes, here. Lady number 2.
Thank you. Juha Tikkanen. I claim myself to be an inventor. I have a question which is actually meant for the panel, but now, since you're leaving, I want to ask it here because I find Japanese people the most trusted friends I can have. So why is it so that if we think about environment, problems are global, there's enough work for everybody to do. Why is it so difficult to make companies in Japan, in Europe and United States work together for the same goal? Why is it our nature? Is it politics? Is it me?
No, not you. Because everybody said the same thing. So that means Japan has been fairly insular mindset, very internally inward looking, and I think that all the social system and the rules and regulations have been set to fit into that category. And particularly Japan has been so successful from 1960s through 1980s in the economic growth and industrialization, so that every rules has been set to fit in that category. But now, as I told you, all the paradigm has been changing. It's very difficult for Japanese corporate establishment to change the role. And the majority are sticking onto that old model. That is the reason they are so resistant to the outside suggestions and incoming partnership. And I think that is completely a principal mindset of Japanese psyche. And if I want to talk to you to explain why that happens, I need another 1 hour.
Do we have another question? Yeah, there is one here.
Pekka Hemmi from Nordic Ventures Group. I would like to ask from Kurokawa-san why you selected bio and nanotechnologies to focus the sixth development era. What problems do you see they could solve in your set work?
Right. Because I think this is a question mark, because I think this biotechnology and understanding of genome and nanotechnology, what do you want to deliver? It is to enhance the longevity from 80 to 90, or rather than invest on this global inequity of health. Let's see if we're going to, like, large corporate is going to invest a lot of money into AIDS vaccine, because major target, 70% of AIDS patients are in Africa. So that's become a bit of disappointment to the greater public, which become keenly aware of these global issues. But I think with environment and energy become of such a top priority even in G8, in my view, biotech and nanotech, in addition to other technology, may become a great potential to produce clean energy and green environment, in addition to any health-related initiative, right? That's my interpretation, but I like to see that happen. And that is the reason why there's a lot of shift in investment in Silicon Valley.
If no further questions, let's give one more hand to Kurokawa-san for excellent presentation. And thank you also, Kurokawa-san, for painting us the big picture. It fitted well as the first kind of presentation. We now all understand that we're in front of a sixth paradigm and with new challenges. So let us move on forward with the program, and it's again my great pleasure and honor to introduce you our next speaker, Professor Dr. Jun Yu, who is Associate Director of Beijing Institute of Genomics. Please, Dr. Yu, the floor is yours now.